All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Circle of Light meditation. Just gonna mute everyone here. If you could mute yourself, that'd be great. That's fine. Nice to see you all. Gonna get set up in all the places. If I can make it work on Facebook, which seem to eternally have issues with it. There's probably a sign there, right? How are you all doing? How's everybody doing? Very intense energies these days. I was telling my husband, it feels like Mercury retrograde and full moon all together, all in one. And Mercury retrograde, as you may know, is all about just miscommunication. When you think somebody is saying one thing and they're saying the other thing, or when things just sort of tense. Um, so yeah, I mean that's kind of what the energies are, and it's just there's a lot of light. There's a lot of light being blasted at us right now. All right, I'm just adding. Never mind. Let's just do this as quickly as I can, as easily as I can. I don't really know what's going on with this Facebook thing here, but all right. I'm trying to get it set up. I'm just going to keep talking until it gets set up. So I wanted to talk tonight about standing up for ourselves. So that's kind of the theme here. And the reason I wanted to do that is because I've been doing that, surprise, surprise, a lot recently, it seems like. And, sometimes when things happen, when things are like coming up in our face and we're wondering, why is this happening or what's going on here? There's always a lesson, there's always a learning. And I've had something interesting recently happen, which doesn't often happen to me or I don't experience, but sometimes the lesson and the learning is not about us, it's about the other person. So that's been kind of a little bit of a theme for me at least, and um, when how do I say this? Well, let me back up. I mean, there's the amount of when there's so much pressure that is put on a human population, and in any human, if there's intense stuff and there's emotions that we're feeling and we're not necessarily releasing those emotions, we can it's like a volcano that wants to erupt, and normally volcanoes erupt from top of the top, right? But if it can't erupt and if it's not allowing itself to erupt, as in like humans, not if we're not allowing ourselves to release our emotions and feel our emotions, then it will come out in weird ways. It'll come out like at the volcano will spew out the sides because that energy is going to be released, whether we want it whether we know it or not, we want it to be or not, it's going to be. Um, so that's kind of what we're seeing, like irritability a little bit sometimes with people, and I've seen there's been, even with people who are our friends or like family members, people that we kind of see things normally eye to eye. We can't. There's in a lot of different groups, and I've observed this myself. I've experienced it myself. There can be like we can kind of come at each other. It's like my chickens, right? We let our chickens out a lot and we let them, roam free. But if we don't let them out, I mean, if we have a coop and then a run, we let them out of the run so they can run around the yard. But if I don't see this a lot with my chickens, but with some chickens, if they don't have enough space, they will peck at each other, right? They start to go at each other because they're under stress. So that's what we're seeing a lot right now. And while the COVID narrative seems to be disappearing in many ways, there's still a lot of people who are still in that narrative and still in a state of fear or in a state of this is the right thing to do. That's their choice. My perspective is just keep being aligned with your highest self, with your own personal choice, what feels right to you, and stand true to that, what that is for you. But as a lot of this is the process of awakening that has been predicted for thousands of years. This is nothing. This is it's exciting, right? It's an exciting time to be alive. Um, Man, are all my connections just not really working? I don't really know what's going on here. Oh, there it is. Okay, it is working. I just didn't see it. Uh, um, Definitely not on Facebook, but that's probably meant to be. So the light, I mean, I said this last week, but when a light shines in a room, like a flashlight shines in a room on the shadows, the shadows are illuminated, and things that are hiding in the shadows don't necessarily want to be seen. That's true for our own inner stuff and for what's happening in the collective. So, one of the lessons that I've been experiencing is, I can be a very kind and compassionate person. And I like to think of that most of the time. However, if I feel I'm being disrespected or taken advantage of, that's when this inner fire comes out. And, and I think in the past, and for those of you, when we feel that's happening to us, sometimes we go in that place of fight or flight, and that can mean that we react in ways that we don't really want to. So what I've been working on recently, and for a number of years now, is really that balance of just noticing where there's a trigger, like feeling like, oh my gosh, I feel like something's maybe being done to me or something, and maybe it's not totally true. That could be a perspective that's not totally accurate. But I've had some interesting interactions with a few people recently that I expected more from, and I think I sometimes tell people, it's like when you have, if you don't want to ever be disappointed, just expect less from people, and then you can't go be disappointed. I tend to have pretty high expectations for myself and also of others, which is not always a good thing. But I'm aware of it, so I kind of like, I know that's kind of something I do, and I try to mitigate that. But when we kind of know when it's time to stand up for yourself. And I use this metaphor a lot with clients. If somebody is, if you're a parent with a toddler, and that toddler was like screaming at you or calling you names, you would say, that's not okay. You can't, or hitting you, for instance. You say hitting you, right? You say that you can't hit me. I understand that you're upset, but you need to go in your room until you're ready to treat me better, right? This is not how we treat people. And so you're separating yourself. You're setting a boundary. You're saying this is what is not okay. And so I think for a lot of spiritual people, and we want to. I see this a lot, and I've experienced it myself a little bit. We want to believe that we're loving and kind, and the ultimate form of gaslighting, by the way, is when people say, "Well, it's not loving or kind of you. You're not being loving or kind right now when you're trying to set a boundary, right?" How many of you have experienced that? When you're trying to say, no, that's not okay. That is not okay. And I'd like to think of like Martin Luther King or Mahatma Gandhi, or people who have, Nelson Mandela, who have stood up for justice, for what is right, for against injustice, and the way that they have done that. Some of these wise people have done that was just with love, but also just saying, no, like Rosa Parks, I'm not getting up. I will not give up my seat. She didn't scream at anybody on that bus. Everybody knows that, right? She didn't scream. She didn't, call anybody names. She just said, this is wrong. I'm not, this is what I'm doing. I'm standing in my truth. Wow, I feel this amazing amount of emotion around that. I don't know why, but that is, I think, the conviction, the inner conviction that it takes to do that is just immense, to stand up for what is right, knowing that it means going against, what she did, for instance, was going against what the social norm was at the time, or at least in that, I think it was Alabama, right? Against this dysfunctional society, which we're seeing a little bit of that today with some of these mandates and some of the discriminatory treatment of people with health statuses, let's put it that way. And it's similar, different, but similar. So, and then I'm not talking about that actually at all, like the COVID thing or the vaccination thing, but I'm talking about just, from my personal experience, didn't have anything to do with that. But, what it takes to say, I have this amount of respect for myself and honor for myself that I will not allow this. And, when I have clients who have a hard time with that, especially if somebody's gaslighting them, telling them, oh, that's not a loving thing for you to do, when you stand up for yourself and you say that's not okay, right? That it's actually, if you think about if you had a child or you had a niece or nephew or just any child that you're around, and you think, would I want that child to learn that it's okay to tolerate abuse or discrimination or just sort of, mistreatment or being taken advantage of or disrespect in any way? No, of course not. So what we're doing is we're modeling for others how, and I have clients with kids, I'll say, do it for your children. You're modeling for them what it means to stand up and just say, this is okay. This is not okay. Here's the line, right? And I love myself enough to honor and respect that line, that boundary. And when it's being crossed, I will stand up and say, no, you can't do that. That's not okay. So that is, and for me, it's a lot of past life stuff. I think I've mentioned this a few times for those of you who've listened, but, I had a past life where I was persecuted, pushed out of town for teaching kids intuitive spiritual things. And I believed that I did something wrong. It's like, why would they do that? Why would they? And they were trying to kill me, and they did kill me. And why would they? Must have done something wrong if they hate me so much, that I must have been bad. And so what I've done is, in that, going back in that past life, is turn around and say, no, I don't deserve that. I didn't deserve to be treated like. I don't deserve to be treated like this. I did nothing wrong. So that's a big theme for me. Maybe it is for some of you. So let's do a meditation on that. I just realized I was going to put in my little earpiece. I forgot, but I will put it in now so you can hear me a little better, if I can find it. So for those of you on Instagram or on Zoom, I'm not actually sure if I'm even in Facebook because it doesn't seem to do anything, but I don't really care. Then feel free to comment or say, anything if you have experienced this type of, having to set boundaries and stand up for yourself. It seems to be happening a lot these days for many of us. So, all right. So let's do a meditation. How does that sound? On bringing in that energy. And it's definitely Archangel Michael, whose energy we want to connect with when we're really setting those firm boundaries for ourselves. So we'll see who comes up, though, because I don't plan these. We just kind of see what happens. But it's probably going to be Archangel Michael, but I could be wrong. All right, so let's close our eyes. Take some deep inhales. And exhales, just begin to push pause on the external stuff. Taking a moment to go inward, connect in, plug in. Breathing deeply in, slowly exhaling out. Feeling your lungs fill with air and allowing them to empty. Feeling your belly rising and falling. And just notice your breath, how it's flowing. It's a great way to connect in. Maybe you're aware of even sounds around you that you can focus on. Just feel yourself in the space that you're in. Now you have landed in your body, you're anchoring in, dropping in. And as you breathe in next, as you inhale, just begin to breathe into your heart. Connecting in with the light in your heart, amplifying that light. And as you breathe out, imagine that light in your heart is just spreading out through your body. Flowing through your veins, allowing that light to be soaked up, letting it spill out through your hands and feet, spill out into your aura, and feel that your inner light is now merging with the light around you, that you can connect into the energy field of all that is, that Christ consciousness grid of unconditional love that is around you. And allow this blue, indigo blue light, the energy of Archangel Michael, to surround you in your energy, in your energetic body. And the light of that Christ consciousness of unconditional love begins to connect in with your own aura. You're absorbing deeply into your heart, especially, what it feels like to love yourself unconditionally. And what would that be like? Just sit with this idea. What would it be like if you loved yourself enough to honor your integrity, your dignity, your sense of wholeness and self, to honor your personal boundaries and space? What would that be like? Would you stand a little taller? Would you hold yourself with more pride, with more strength? So often we've been told by many, especially women, by many people in our lives, unfortunately, that we are not enough or that we are too much, and that we need to pull back, that we need to be quiet, that we shouldn't do this too much or do that too much, to not offend people or to not hurt somebody's feelings. And while those things are true to a certain extent, we can take those recommendations and overdo it and hold ourselves back, shrink inward, beat ourselves up, shame, self-doubt, lack of believing in ourselves, low sense of self-worth and self-esteem, lacking confidence. And that can cause us to go with it, to become small. What we're doing here is like a flower that's blossoming in the light. We are opening up your heart. Make sure your posture is really tall and straight right now. Arms open. We can even practice after you're done with this meditation, standing in a power position, arms even at your waists, at your hips, stand your hands on your hips or your hands just down by your side, open, not legs crossed, not arms crossed, leaving them uncrossed. This energetic stance can begin to activate our inner power. And even that word power can feel strange, but it's our inner strength, our inner sovereignty, our inner standing tall. And so feel this angelic energy with your guides, your spirit guides, your guardian angel, Archangel Michael, and any other divine being helping lift you up as if there's a string just pulling you up by the top of your head. So allowing you to stand with dignity, with compassion, with grace, with assertiveness, confidence, being steadfast, firm, and loving. Just sit with this energy for a few moments.
Notice if you feel even uncomfortable as you are standing tall, as your shoulders are back, as you are in this power position. If this is unfamiliar to you, it can create a form of discomfort. See if you can sit with that just for a moment. Notice that. Breathe through it. We've been wounded in the past. We've been through battles. We have healing to do. So it's okay. It's okay. But we're learning to stand tall, to stand in our rightful place, to trust our hearts to guide us. Always being guided by love, and love also means loving ourselves enough to stand firm and have clear boundaries. And that can also be the greatest gift you can give to another who, at a soul level, subconsciously has asked to learn how to respect others' boundaries. They may not like it when we set them from an ego human self, but their higher self is overjoyed. So feel yourself now. Maybe imagining there's situations when you feel like somebody's coming at you, they're throwing arrows at you, or little, rotten tomatoes or something. You're getting rained on. But this bubble of light around you, like armor, like as if you're just surrounded by shields and armor that are translucent. A love can come in. They protect you. And all that stuff just bounces off, or maybe you're like the sun, and when it gets closer, it just evaporates, burns off. Your light is so strong. And you feel this sense of in your life that when you stand up for yourself, you actually gain the respect of others. And they start to treat you in a way that you deserve to be treated. Most of the time. And if they don't, they are cleared away eventually because their vibration is not aligned with yours. So set an intention now to carry this light with you, this strength, this standing tall. See yourself in the coming days standing tall like this in any situation, especially a situation you may have cowered, where you may have taken something on that wasn't yours, that you didn't need to take on. That you stand up for yourself with love, with compassion, with a firm, courageous heart. Allow this energy and intend for it to stay with you. Feel what it feels like so you can connect with this energy anytime you choose. Asking Archangel Michael to be with you. And imagine other legions of angels surrounding you, protecting you. And any other light beings as well. Feels so good to do this. Allow that feeling to be deeply absorbed in every level of your mind, body, spirit, and soul. It's a great, great gift that you're giving to yourself. And so you can take a deep breath. As you exhale, just come back into a place of gratitude, hands in prayer position or over your heart. Whatever feels right to you, just giving thanks. Honoring yourself, honoring the divine guidance with you today, supporting you. And with this prayer position, as many of you know, the word namaste, which is a Sanskrit word, means the inner light within me sees and honors the inner light within you. So I say that to you now. Namaste. So you can take a deep breath, exhale, come back into your body, stretch out, give yourself a nice hug, feeling. You can even do something a little different. Put your hands like a mime, like out around you. Imagine you feel this like bubble, like this light armor around you on all sides, and it's just there all the time. It's amazing what we can do when we connect with angelic energy, when you just do these visualizations. I can attest to that, recently having done that. Some really interesting things happened when I have, set some boundaries and was a little firmer with people than I usually am, and how the results turn out when you're coming from that place. It's very, very interesting how the energies can shift in positive ways. So, all right. I hope that was helpful in some way for you. I have a few things to share. One is that next week is the Akashic Records class, as many of you know. There's 2 spots left, so it's filling up. If you want to join, there's still some time. There's a book that I ask people to read, and so if you want to sign up and you want to do that soon, so you have time to order the book. I was just talking with a client today that this is, so much of the healing that we're here to do, and doing that, standing up in our sovereignty is done in the Akashic Records. It's the best place to do it. So if you want to do that for yourself, highly encourage you to check out this class. It's I love teaching it. I love going in the records, just very, very powerful. And then the other thing I wanted to share was the community that I facilitate, which is called the Soulful Work Community. I'm changing the name to the New Earth Collective, which kind of reflects just what we're doing. We're moving into the new earth, and the what I've personally been drawn to is obviously always spirituality and consciousness expansion and just light work, but also the earth. And I have this deep desire just to learn, and a lot of us do, to learn more about plants and animals and how to work with the earth, self-sufficiency, homesteading, making things from things that we're growing in terms of food or crafts. And so there's so much that we can do, and we're going to be doing different workshops, edible foraging, some wilderness survival skills. These are in person, of course. And I'm just working with coming up with maybe like a pine needle basket or Japanese knotweed flute making workshop, and all bringing that intention and connection with nature. So that's coming. You'll stay tuned for more details on that name change. And of course, this is, I'm in Maine, but I'm also going to be doing a lot of virtual gatherings as well. So one workshop will be on interpreting your dreams. I'm working on another one, possibly on just, mantras and chanting. So there's always going to be, both, virtual and in person. And really what I'm hoping this community will become is, I facilitate people coming together in person to learn and grow and share together. But those of you who want that in your own community, you'll have support to create that as well, because that's where we're going, with these little pockets of people coming together, meditating around a fire, just sharing, connecting, learning. That's the future. So I'm excited to just kind of tweak it a little bit and add more to it and share more tools every month. Details, stuff that I do with clients individually and share them with the group. So that's where I'm going to start putting a lot more stuff. So stay tuned. Details in New Earth Collective. You could actually sign up for it now. It's the Soul Forward community. $20 a month. First month is free. There's all kinds of stuff on this online platform, which I'm going to keep expanding. Videos, meditations, resources, ways to kind of move through ego stuff. So anyway, all right. That's all I'm going to say this evening. Thank you for being here with me. As always, it's a blessing and honor. Take care, everybody. Bye.